come and catch the vibe. Welcome to Easy Weekend.
It's Easy Weekends.
Cats can't see me.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, and children of all ages, thank you for joining us. This is a sit down. I'm your guy, M. Easy. Make sure you like, subscribe, share, comment, make the algorithm. Listen, Christmas was tough. It was expensive. 6 kids, a mortgage, you know what I'm saying? Wife. We need these numbers to number, you know what I'm saying? Help me out. Okay, now that we're done with that, today, I have, y'all might know him from Power Raising Kaanan, you know what I mean? Uncle Marvin and all that. But me personally, that's Reg, nigga. I love Ballers. I was mad when Ballers went off, but today, joining me is London Brown.
Hey, man, thank you for having me. Today, I like you said that. But today.
Thank you for joining us this afternoon. Appreciate you for coming through. I know you had a busy afternoon.
No, man, you guys are great, man. I appreciate you guys and the energy. Let's start there.
The food was amazing. Listen, I got to make sure everybody, it's easy to talk to people when they're on a full belly.
Come on, somebody.
Okay, so how did you get to Power?
All right.
No, I'm not going to stop at Power. Let's get to Ballers. Let me get to what I know. How did you land the role of Reg in Ballers?
All right. First off, thank y'all for having me. That's the first thing. Shout out to Chef Quee, man. The food was good.
Amazing. Hold on. Charles Pan Fried Chicken in Harlem.
Absolutely. So at the time, I was working a few gigs, and I was just trying to figure it out. Not doing the acting thing. I was working at the time as a choreographer, and I was just trying to
choreographer. So you're a dancer.
A little bit.
Okay.
So I was working on this project, and all my things that I owned was in my mother's garage, and I remember I was burnt out. I was sitting on the floor, and I got a call from Chris Spencer. Shout out to Chris Spencer. Chris Spencer is the EP for Kevin's Hollywood Husbands. That project.
Yes.
So shout out to Chris Spencer. Chris calls me. He says, "Have you auditioned for Ball?" I said, "Nah." He said, "All right, they looking for you." So then.
Hold on. What do you mean they're looking for you? Specifically, they asked for you?
HBO, that's how he told me. He said, "Hey, man, HBO's looking for you." And I was like, all right, well, cool. At the time, I didn't have a manager or an agent. So however I came up, that's why I never take credit for this. It's just all God's doing because,
Amen.
With a project like, what people got to understand is like HBO is too large of a network to be in the trenches. So I know God orchestrated this. This ain't me. Ain't nothing of nothing. But anyway, I do the audition. My voice was hoarse because I hadn't been sleeping. I've been working, and I told him, I said, if you guys can't understand what I'm saying, let me come back and re-audition. And they was like, no, we got it. And they liked what I did. They called me back. That process took about 2 months. And then I remember one evening I was in the gym, and they was like, yo, you got any obligations? You got anything here? I was like, nah, I ain't got no kids. I got a couple hats and some J's. And they was like, all right, well, we want to invite you to be a part of the show. And also they decided to make me a lead in that process because I think what people don't understand is Reggie was only supposed to do maybe an episode or 2.
No way.
Absolutely. He was a side idea of a best friend kind of a thing. And that worked out. Again, that's just God doing what he's doing with it. And that worked out in my favor. And I looked up, and 5 years later, I was, had done 5 seasons.
HBO called you for this ancillary role, for like a side role, and this turned into a main character for 5 years.
Yeah, man. But again, so that's why when it sounds like the way you're presenting it, as far as like that's how we know, and not to get all be with the extras, but that's how we know God is doing it because it don't make sense on paper for it to work out like that. But I'm very aware of that. So yeah, when it worked out, I guess they like what I was doing with the part, and that's why I used in low key in season 1. A lot of that was improvised because they didn't have no lines for me. So it was important for me to make the character stand out in a way, make him very snarky and very, something that was gonna be worth keeping around. Because had I just played what was on paper, I would have been written off already. So I said, let me just try to make him super annoying and just leeching off what people thought was leeching off his friend.
You ain't like The Rock. He was like, no, it's not working.
All of that. But see, because even that accidentally orchestrated, I became like the antagonist in season 1. So, and again, I have to go back to God because I know he just set it all up. But like, even if people didn't know me, all my scenes were across from Dwayne. So you had to see me even if you didn't want to see me.
Absolutely,
So
yes.
it worked out, in that way. So I was like, cool. And then, so the first season was like paired up with my best friend on the show. Shout out to Donovan Carter. Who played Vernon Littlefield. So we was paired up, and it was with like us two and then Dwayne. And then the second season I went with Rob Corddry, who played I forgot his name, the character on the show. What's the bald white guy on the show?
I know what you're talking
Yeah,
about.
his partner. Anyway, I watched the show. So yeah, the fact that they paired us together, they was able to kind of see some of the comedic stuff because we was dealing with the alpaca and all that other stuff. So, and shout out to Fats, man. He was telling me about the transition of that character and the development of that. But I'm into arcing characters like that. Because sometimes if you just play what's on paper, you'd be going. And that's kind of boring anyway. Like the writers don't know. Sometimes they write these characters and they just go with what they know, but it's up to us as actors to bring those characters to life in a way where they say, oh, shoot, he is more than just this or that, what we have. Because they don't know. They write these parts, but we got to bring them to life. And so that's the kind of, work that I like to do personally.
But let's fast forward
Sure.
to Kaanan.
All right.
How'd that phone call come? How'd that opportunity come about?
Oh, man. Here goes this story.
Hear me go. I love those.
So 2019, I find out on the gram, Dwayne says that the show is ending. So I'm like, okay. All right, I'm in traffic. I'm not really worried because my faith ain't in none of this stuff anyway. All of it can disappear, And I think all of us learned that lesson during the pandemic.
Yes.
So I'm like, all right, the show's done. All right. So then I get a call from my agent at the time. They hit me with the, hey, London, how's it going? I said, everything cool. I'm thinking we're going to have a regular conversation. I said, yo, man, everything cool. I'm just working, working clubs, comedy clubs and stuff like that. Yeah, nice. Listen, we want to say we feel like we're too big of an agency, and we're probably going to not. I said, oh, this is that call. They want to split. I said, cool, no worries. It's all good. And we parted ways. My manager, she was just like, yo, don't worry. We're going to keep it moving. In fact, here go two other projects. And I went down to go shoot. Shout out to Robbie Reed. If you don't know who Robbie Reed is the black casting director and everything else. But she did everything from X to any prominent black Spike Lee situation she was involved with.
Okay.
So anyway, shout out to Robbie Reed. She called me. She said, hey, we're doing American Soul. Can you play Boosie Collins for this? I was like, all right, cool. No problem, baby. So we go down, fly down to Atlanta, go do that, and then I go do some other film in Winnipeg, Canada. And after that, now we're looking at the fall, going into the winter of 2019. There's this agent. He says, my manager says, yo, this agent, he likes your work. He would like to work with you. Let's take a meeting. Took a 5-minute meeting. He was cool. And then he started coming out to the clubs where I was performing. And then he said, yo, man, I got these. Why don't you try to read for this? And at the time, it said Power on the audition. Now, what people don't know is this is right when Power was coming to their conclusion of the show. It was wrapping up.
Before they killed Ghost.
Right before. Actually, at this time, they were already promoting the fact that this is the last season.
Oh, yeah,
right?
yeah.
So when I got the sides for people that don't know, sides are pieces of the script. So when I got the scenes, I was like, well, I said, Power about to end, so I don't know what this is. Because sometimes what they do to protect the material, they will put a fake title on the audition piece so that the material don't get leaked. So I was like, all right, well, maybe it's just a mock script. No problem. I read it. And this before Christmas, I submit the audition. I get back after the Christmas break, and I'm submitting a few more tapes because audition, you're competing and auditioning against several people, East Coast and West. So I'm submitting these tapes. Then I get a call. They say, yo, you got the part. I still don't even know this is connected to Power at all because I didn't watch Power. I didn't watch Power at all because I wanted to be on Power, but at the time I was working on Ballers. So I couldn't watch it because I wanted to be a part of it so badly. So anyway, I moved to New York. We shoot the first episode of Raising Kaanan. And mind you, it's called Raising Kaanan. Now, I still don't know this is the Power universe. We shoot the first episode, COVID hit. I moved back to LA. Everything is shut down. 8 months later, whatever it was, we pick it back up and we continue shooting. So I didn't realize that I was a part of this and 50 was attached to it and all of that until
You didn't meet 50?
I met 50 at the table read. Right, so I did meet 50. I still didn't know it was power. I'm just like, okay, well, 50 producing, shout out to 50. 50
Green
is
light
always
gang.
working. All right, green light gang is a term meaning green light is like the go. And so when we talk about green light gang, when a project gets approved by all the people that need to approve it, it's greenlit.
Yeah.
So anyway, I was like, okay, I'm part of this 50 project, and then later on, months later, I was like, oh. This is Raising Kanan. Kanan is a part of, because I didn't watch the show. I didn't know Kanan was the little Kanan.
Yeah.
So it's a whole thing, but that's how that worked out. And, fortunately, shout out to all the people that watch the show and keep me employed. So I don't take that stuff for granted, man. So thank you.
I've always wanted to ask this question, but I want an honest answer.
Sure.
Does it feel good to fake kill people? See, this is a dangerous question. I don't want to make you seem like a psycho or anything, but it doesn't feel good to fake kill somebody.
You know what? It is cool. It's cool in the sense that
They're not really dead.
They're not really dead. But it's just it's the coolness of that as far as the perception of being a hero is really the idea of that. So when it came down to on the show, for example, when I found out when Marvin finds out someone's messing with his product or messing with his nephew and trying to rip him off, for Marvin to come in like that and to save his nephew, the heroic side of that London enjoys. Not the vilifying of that, but just the heroic side of that is cool.
He's good. That's a good answer. Because I would have said, hell yeah, I love killing motherfuckers every now and then.
Yeah, I know.
Whenever I have an actor in the room, I always ask them, who would play you in your biopic?
People have asked that before. I don't know. He would have to be, with no vanity, he would have to be pretty eclectic. He would have to be a lot of different things as far as who he is as a person. Because I'm not just one thing. That's why I think sometimes when people look at Marvin, they're like, man. The thing I think that separates Marvin from a lot of other characters is the fact that you look at Marvin, he's not just the Uncle Eaton. He's not just, the guy, the irresponsible uncle that I think everyone thought he was in season 1. But when you look at Marvin, you get a lot of different things from him. At one moment, you can be cheering him on when he's out the back of the van and he's, doing with the gun work. And then at one point, he's doing the charming thing with the women on the show, and then you have him being responsible. He's checking his nephew, but then he's also submitting under his sister, and then he and his brother got a issue going on, but they still love each other because they're brothers. So when I look at Marvin low key is a little bit of all the characters that he interacts with, and when you really think about it, when he's holding the gun, that's Neek's side, and then when he's being submissive to Rock, that's a little bit of Kanan. When he's giving orders to Kanan, that's a little bit of Rock. When he's charming with women, that's Lulu. The emotional stuff, that's Jukebox. Now, I know everybody's not thinking about it on that psychological level, but that's the stuff that I'm thinking about is creating these layers, because the more layers I try to make Marvin, the more human I think he becomes. So he's not just some caricature. He's not just an uncle with a flat top in a cool car. But he's somebody be like, I know somebody like him, or I get where he's coming from. So when Marvin goes through things, we empathize with him. Because at season 1, he was doing the whole situation with his daughter. We was like, yo, you tripping, you bugging. But then this season, people are like, man, he's super dad. And no matter where Marvin is, we don't feel like he's out of sorts. Like the fact that he's being super dad, that don't look fake for Marvin. That's like, yo, he's really being genuine. But when he checks somebody, that's also very genuine. You know what I mean? So those things are the layers that I try to create, so that we place these characters in a real way.
You said that you're a lot of different things. When I was reading your bio and all that, it said you were a radio host, and you talk about performing. Do you perform in comedy? What are you doing by performing? I
do stand-up, so when I'm not shooting, I'm in the clubs, So that's my lifestyle when I'm not out here in New York filming or shooting, raising Kaanan. I'm hosting comedy clubs and on the road and stuff like that. So yeah, I try to keep true to myself in that way.
So, now, did the actors strike affect you in any way?
The actors strike affected me in the sense that production was shut down, but I was also standing with the actors because London was okay. I ain't got no extravagant bills. I buy a couple sneakers and I help people out and that sort of thing. But I was standing for, the other actors, the background actors who don't get, they just do. You know what I mean? So I was thinking about people like that, because I don't know. Right now, it's always cool or not cool. It's easy to forget, the people around you sometimes when you're up,
Yes.
But I'm like, I don't know, things change. So I try, if I can, I try to speak for, the guy next to me who may not be in a comfortable space.
Memorizing lines, got to be hard. Give me a tip or a trick that helps you memorize your lines.
I think a lot of people, when they think about, first of all, the lines as an actor, that ain't even. Lines as an actor would be the equivalent when someone says, man, the lines, I don't know how y'all do that. That's the hard part. Lines for an actor would be the equivalent to somebody making a grocery list and having to cook for Thanksgiving. When you memorize the lines, you're just making a grocery list. You haven't done anything yet. That's primal. That's the basics. But my process, because I know sometimes people they think as actors we have cue cards, and some actors do. They have cue cards that say, okay, Power 105.1, Power 105, and they go there, Power 105.1, New York's hip hop, New York's hip hop. I don't really do that. For me, my process is I create an emotional map of what's going on in the scene, what the character wants, why, who wants what from him, and figure out what's the subtext of a scene. Subtext meaning what is being said that's not on paper. Once I figure out what's going on with that, the dialogue will come to me, because I know if I understand why I'm saying it, then what I'm saying will follow.
Putting y'all through acting school, you know what I'm saying? Just little tips from London, you know what I'm saying? Just letting y'all know.
To be honest with you, I usually memorize, if I'm going to, really lock the lines in, that happens like the morning of. Really, that works better for me. So at night I study, but as far as like actually going over and figuring out, knowing what I'm going to say, yeah, that happens in the morning. I
dated a chick that was an actress one time, and I helped her read lines and stuff.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
that's important, man. Your role is important to people that got to memorize them lines.
She told me if I missed a word, it would mess up where she's supposed to come in, because she's waiting for the cues. And I'm like, it's a lot of things that go into acting that people don't really pay attention to.
It's mental, man. That's why people, we may not be physically drained as far as in the same way that somebody that's building a house would be, but mentally, that takes a toll.
You heard him, right? This is to the wife, because she feels that because I just press buttons and talk on the radio, I don't got a stressful life.
But see, your life, even with what you do, that's also okay.
Talk to me, London. Come on.
As a stand-up and as a radio host and different things like that, people don't understand we're giving of ourselves. That's energy. That's and it, also there's some sort of emotional connection if we're doing it honestly, and people they have to understand that it's not to be slept on.
And nobody cares what I went through before I turned this mic on.
Nobody cares.
They want the same M-Easy that happened yesterday, the day before, and the year before. It doesn't matter that my life is in shambles. Get on this radio and give us what we need.
Nobody cares, and it's the same thing with especially with stand up and on set. Whatever happens, we gotta leave that stuff at the door and show up and be present, because people think we just recite lines and go off of those kinds of things, but we have to really. Acting just teaches us to be present. Like, people think you go to acting school to learn how to act, but you really learn how to not act and just be like as present as you can be, so that you can really listen genuinely and respond accordingly, not just, because sometimes you may go home and you practice your lines one way and that other actor will give you another delivery, and if you're not present enough, you'll miss it. So I just try to be extremely present.
Would you recommend acting coaches for someone else trying to get into acting?
Oh, for sure, man. Absolutely. You can never be above that sort of thing. Acting coaches, even acting classes. Because people ask me all the time, say, yo, I want to get into this acting thing. What should I do? I'm like, listen, man, go take some classes. Take some classes. Get with a coach. There are 2 books you can read, because I know people are going to be watching this and wondering. 2 books you should read would be Respect for Acting by Uta Hagen. Respect for Acting, and the other one is An Actor Prepares by Konstantin Stanislavski. If you're serious about it, these are 2 books you probably should just have as an actor somewhere in your repertoire that I think will help. But classes, man, for sure. Because people ask me, hey man, look, I want to get on the show, and I want you to talk to 50 Cent. Like I'm like 50 Cent stay in my same apartment building. But talk to 50 Cent and let him know I'm a good actor. I got what it takes. I can do it. I'm like, have you taken any class? I don't need no class. I got talent. I'm like, listen, man, even if you got the audition, you need some sort of skill to even, to last through the audition, to maintain the part. So we can never be above training. And so it's solid, man.
Are you into superhero films?
I can appreciate superhero films, yeah.
Would you play a superhero?
I would play a superhero if it was grounded to truth. Meaning, for example, to me, when I think of superhero, I'm not necessarily thinking cape. I'm thinking Denzel Washington, John Q.
Ooh. I like you, yo. I don't say this in the middle of interviews. I like you, son. Reg, I'm going to call you Reg, my nigga. I fuck with you all the way since Reg.
No.
That's my nigga Reg, God. London, you the man, son.
No, because when you think about that, I think sometimes we go right to cape and boots. But, man, when you think about the way Denzel lines that stuff up, he makes sure my son, okay, my son's going to bury me. We like, man, that's a real hero.
Yes.
When you think about a hero, I'm like, if I was
John Q, nigga.
John Q. Come through, John Q.
I ain't mad at you. So you give me a villain vibe too. I think you would play a good villain.
But that's why I like drama. My friends feel, I make them laugh, so like that, but I really enjoy drama. That's where you get to really work the chops as far as your acting skill. Like, even on the show, I know my friends think that, driving the cars and all that sort of thing, but I like the one-on-one, just sit down, no guns, no fast cars, we just talk. And that's where you really get to see where somebody is with something. Just like when we think about that scene at the end of season, I think it was season 2, and Rock was talking to Lou, that famous scene at the end, and she held his face and she delivered those lines. The way they did that, I'm like, that's the fun stuff. Just good conversation, being super present, listening and responding. That's the fun stuff,
What's your proudest moment so far in your careers? All of them.
You know what? Maybe one of them could be the fact that, there's a couple. I think one, just being able to live strictly off art is important, because it's not like I do this and then I have a gig on the side. Like, this is how I pay bills. So that's one accomplishment, I guess, for myself. But then also, I remember I bought my mother a car, and because I know a lot of people, they see Raising Kaanan, and they see these billboards and different things like that. But I'm real regular, so we didn't grow up with it. I remember at one point it was like 10 of us, like in a 3-bedroom apartment kind of situation, So seeing my mother not have a new car ever, we do not come from one of those families where, it's just multiple cars to drive.
Nah.
And, look, the thing about this is, the responsibility that I carry with my family is that, I'm not my family was never in a position where, for example, I remember my mother didn't want me to drive her car, because if I were to wreck a car,
She ain't getting to work.
ain't no work, ain't nobody in my family to call and be like, yo, let me borrow 10 grand and let me get back up. It's not happening. So even for me, when people say, man, how you feel about, being on TV and stuff like that, it's more simpler than that, in that I just be glad to be able to do the thing to look out for my family. My immediate family. My mother made sure, hey, moms, you good? So when I bought her that car.
What kind of car?
Well, I can't tell because people crazy,
Oh,
but it's
heard
nice.
You, heard you.
It's nice right off the lot, and so because
I respect it. I respect
y'all not
it.
cursing on here, are y'all?
You can do whatever the fuck you want, my
Okay,
nigga.
well, niggas crazy.
That's
Okay,
a
look.
fucking little
Now
league.
listen. Now the thing about I try to keep these clean because I do want to repost these. But the thing about it is I did a post about this, and this is kind of a sidebar, but I'm gonna bring it back. What I don't like is sometimes you'll find people and you'll help people out, and within helping people out, it be the same people that you're helping out that low key be counting your pockets. I'm like, nigga, why would you do that? That's not solid. I'm helping you out, yet you still feeling funny because I decided I want to buy me a green and yellow scarf with my money. If I want to buy a green and yellow scarf, nigga, I'm helping you out. Why you worrying about what I'm buying with my money?
Yep.
But my point is why I won't mention the car. But the point is that being able to buy her a car where at least that was one thing she don't have to worry about or stress. Yeah, see, niggas don't get it. It's not like we talking about her first off the lot brand new car. And I know people are like, well, that's just a car. But when you come from where I come from, where every car was, I remember we had so many cars, man. Look, man, I remember we had a car that was gray when it was dry and blue when it was wet. This car, we used to have to, we started with a screwdriver, Caprice Classic. Caprice Classic, we had, because a lot of us, so we always had these Astro vans. And
I feel like he's talking about my life. Like the station wagon joints?
Bro, we had the jalopies, we had the hoopties, we got the pencils, whatever you want to call them.
Was your mom a single parent?
No, my stepfather was there.
Okay.
But the nigga was crazy. He's a street nigga too. So he was what he was on. And so growing up with this, a lot of it fell on me. As I'm the oldest, right? I'm
God
the oldest of 6. And so I still to this day, function from that place. And so when people think, hey, they look at me and they just think I'm just, I don't know what they think I'm on, but it's not just me I take care of. Like London is fine by himself. I got my little shoes and my little sweater. I'm fine. But I work as hard as I work because there are lots of other people that I still take care of. Mm-hmm. So it's not about me. You're
a vehicle of the blessing.
That's all, man. So that's why it's important for me when I speak to y'all in here and, she put her son on the phone, I was able to tell him thank you because her son and the people I meet on the street, each one of those people make up the millions of people that watch the show that keep me employed. So if I put it in that perspective, then it's not about me. That's silly, I'm as often as I can, I try to stop and talk to people and take photos and stuff like that. Or even I may cover a meal or two if I'm out. And I remember again this waitress, she tried to stop me. She's like, "Yo," I said, "Yo, ring that table up." And she was like, she gave me the bill. I said, "Yo, the bill look kind of low, or it looks still kind of high. What's going on?" She said, "I'm sorry, low." She said, "Well, I didn't want you to pay for it because I didn't want them taking advantage of you." I'm like, "Listen, I asked you to cover it, to bring me the receipt because I know it looks like I'm just frivolously doing stuff and buying shots for people, but I appreciate people because I know that each one of those people allow me to stay employed. I wouldn't even be in the restaurant if brother over there and the couple over there wasn't watching the show." So again, all this stuff comes from God anyway. I'm just a blip in all of this. It's nothing.
Listen, y'all know when I like somebody, I can talk forever, but he's busy and I got to get home to my kids. London.
Yes.
This was amazing.
Appreciate you.
I say this to say I genuinely enjoyed you. This was a great conversation,
awesome,
and I pray that whatever you manifest is what you want.
I received that, man. You gotta tell me twice.
If you ever around and need something to come fucking promote up there, I got you, son.
Thank you, man. I appreciate it.
Any last words you want to tell the people before I let you go?
No, just a real quick, man. Shout out to NCRF. This is a program that I'm a part of, and y'all follow me at Real London Brown, and so if you got a young person that's in high school and they're trying to figure out what to do, hit me up on the gram and I'll connect you guys to some incredible people that can try to figure out a way to help with, get your kids into school or maybe give them some scholarships. We do that kind of thing each year. So shout out to that program. and all that good stuff, man. Shout out to my followers and anybody who enjoys, my work. So you guys are great.
Keep watching that Kaanan. Keep my man employed. Shout out to all the good actors out there in London. Thank you again from the bottom of my heart, my guy.
Boom. Appreciate you.
It's the sit down. Come and catch the vibe. Welcome to Easy Weekend.
It's Easy Weekends.
Cats can't see me.